Howdy, kinfolk. Welcome back. Um, Sometimes, uh, in the past, I've said hello wherever you are in the world, and I mean that. So, wherever you are, whether you say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, welcome. And if you're tuning us in on a replay, I always loved that you want to find out something that's curiosity, or maybe it's life changing. But um, before I uh, do the message of this episode, uh, I want to tell you a few quick um, issues or reminders. First, um, another week or two, I'm planning to rename this podcast from the Stroke Folk Show to the Stroke Thrivers Podcast. So this name matches the heartbeat of this community. People who keep going, people who adapt, people who rebuild. So, and You may ask, why do I do this show after, geez, I think almost 3 years? Um, but why I do it is, first, I want to share what's on my heart or mind. Um, I'm curious, and I love to share what I've learned or what I'm pondering, and um, and most essentially, it's I get to practice. I practice. The first stroke took out my speech center, and I have a little speech difficulty, to put it mildly. So, but I found when I attempt to do it over and over, and I try to do it correctly, it gets better. So this selfishly, it's for me, but I hope that you will find it useful, and because this time is valuable for all of us. Once we have it, it's gone forever, and please, if you find this helpful, uh, tell your friends and your family members, and they may want to come on and see another future show. And so, anyways, um, w- way back when, last year, I used to have a guest which I would interview, and I will get him back uh, in the future. But uh, last fall, I was getting ready to publish my first book, Stroke Survivors First Aid Kit, and it was a big endeavor. And um, so I was focusing on that, and um, so I basically it was the cultivation or accumulation of uh, several years of posting. So I used these posts to be the kernel of the book, and I when I looked at them, they were four keys or four secrets, and so I made a book. And if you are struggling a little bit with your recovery, or you're going fine, but you want something to help you achieve for more, check out my book. Um, and then about 2 months ago or more, I introduced my second book, The Word Search for Stroke Recovery Book, Volume 1. Um, and, uh, and when I was first in my recovery, I used word search books because I had to find out, I had to help my mind um, get back to what I used to do before the strokes. And I hope if somebody will, if you pick up my book and you find, that's interesting. and it helped you, I would love to hear about it. You can, there's lots of places you can get me, um, but, or you can post a review on Amazon and check it out. And if you want to look at either book, you can go to your browser and you can enter tinyurl.com/stroke hyphen books. And then you can check them out. And anyways, it's really interesting. About, oh boy, I guess it's almost 3 years ago, I was taking part in a focus group, but they called it research, at the University of Michigan, where where I will do research there from time to time, one or two times a year, and because I want to give back and I learn new things. Anyways, the director was making some comments to the group, and he kept saying stroke survivors, stroke survivors. And I used to always think of myself as a stroke survivor. And, and for example, that's why I titled the first book. But I realized I wanted to be more than just surviving. And I started calling myself a thriver. And I use the OR of survivor to be my thriver. It's not the correct English we find. My grammar correction always has a fit, but it's what I want you to reach for more. And our words make a difference. And so when we call ourselves a thriver, it makes difference because our brain, if it just heard survivor, it wouldn't be growing as much as the new image you give yourself. And so I commissioned some people to design my concept. So I think I have 13 or 12 designs and growing. And here's one from way back when in World War II. There was they had a campaign that they called Rosie the Riveter, but I loved her look, and so I used it for stroke thrivers. They say unbreakable, and just a one design, because when you start wearing them and seeing that yourself as them, and others see you as yourself, or see you, and they say, thriver, that's curious, tell me about it. And that gives you two opportunities, one to crow about what you're doing, how you're growing, and what this concept of stroke thriver versus stroke survivor. And two, it gives you a chance to educate them about Be Fast, which we'll do another session. But when you can educate them about stroke symptoms or signs, they are more prepared if anything happens. So just and again, you can use your browser and type in tinyurl.com/stroke hyphen designs, and you can check them out. I hope you will join me, and you will show our world. But one of my dreams is they will stricken the word survivor, and they'll replace it with thrivers. All right. And last, remember what I covered it over several sessions ago. Um, but we change when our words, the way that we would describe it, our body and brain, our physiology, we call it, and actions, all three line up over and over, repeatedly. We change and our beliefs change. All right. So now, after our sponsors, let's move on to so towards the message of today. So, and of course, if this sparks interest, concern, or laughter in you after I uh, say what I'm going to say, share what came up, or just sit with it in a bit. So, so let me know. So I didn't plan on uh, talking about mouth taping for years. I've been using that for at least, I don't really remember. I think it's 8+ years, maybe more, maybe less, a little less, but I've been doing it for years. And it started out as a simple fixing to try for uh, uh, snoring. I was doing that. I had done that before the strokes, but my wife was bugging her because she would wake up. I attempted to try that because other things I had tried hadn't really done that, or they were uncomfortable, or um, were a pain in the butt. So um, but it stayed because something about it worked well enough that I kept going. And but this is the distinction that I talked about a long time ago in another episode. The difference between n=1 experiment, which only you are the participant, versus the research, which is bountiful. But we have to notice that distinction. Um, but This was about chasing peak performance. It was about fewer nudges in the night. My wife bugging me and waking me up, and so I stopped snoring without a mouth that felt like sandpaper, which it would in the morning. So over time, I noticed patterns. When I taped my mind, sleep felt quieter and was quieter. My breathing slowed, and the morning dryness eased. So when I didn't tape, snoring crept back in. Um, Breathing felt more rushed, and my sleep felt choppier. Excuse me. So not every night, but not dramatically, but just enough to notice. Once again, the distinction to notice. So experts explain nasal breathing simply that nose is built for breathing. It filters, warms, and controls airflow. Mouth breathing bypasses those steps and can dry things out quickly. And of course, when I am snoring, my position of my jaw is different. But I'm not going to go into that. But that's why many sleep specialists suggest focusing on how we breathe, not just how long we sleep. So David Asprey, which some of you have heard of him, um, he's a very he's a he's an experimenter. He's an n=1, but which he does, and he's very much out in the public. And so I listened to him and I read his books. But others, indeed, like him, they talk about my mouth taping as a training wheel. What? So not a forever requirement, but maybe it will be. So it's a way to encourage nasal breathing and bring awareness to nighttime habits. Aren't my nighttime habits? So that framing matters. So this isn't about forcing my body. It's about guiding it. And so, I'll be honest, the habit also revealed stress. On nights when my thoughts raced, I wanted to rip the tape off. And sometimes in the morning, it's difficult to get it off. But on calmer nights, I barely noticed it. And that's more or less now. So that told me more than any sleep app ever could. And because I work with stroke survivors like you and curious souls alike, want to be very clear. Personal success story doesn't cancel real risk. Um, I, uh, uh, I make this disclaimer, like a caution box. Mouth taping can be unsafe if you have diagnosed or undiagnosed sleep apnea. Um, you rely on no mouth breathing to due to nasal blockage. You can't breathe through your nose. You use sleep devices that require mouth airflow, and you experience panicky with restricted breathing. Um, if you're unsure with any of these things that I talk about in my episodes, talk with a professional who understands sleeping and breathing. Get their advice. This matters more after your neurologic event after a stroke. So, anyways, 8+ years, however more I've been doing it, I'm still see this as an experiment I keep choosing every night, most always every night. So um, it's not for everyone, and it's not as a device. Believe me, never use these as suggestions that go, that's interesting. I'm going to investigate it more. So just one person's long running test that solved a real real problems. So and that will maybe you can try it. So as this show grows in the popularity, and yes, you will hear soon. You will hear Stroke Folk Show called the Stroke Thriver Podcast. That's exactly the kind of conversation I want us having. Curious, careful, honest. If this stirred something, interest, concern, laughter, it did its job. But sometimes the smallest habits open the biggest questions. So, in gratitude and grit, see you next week.